It will be right now.
All right, we'll begin with the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, good morning, everybody. Welcome to the Shawnee County Board of County Commissioners. It's August 4th. I'm Aaron Mays, representing District 3, currently serving as the chairman. On my right is Commissioner Kevin Cook, representing District 2. And Commissioner Bill Rippon is not here today. So, good morning to you.
Good morning.
All right, first item, please.
First item is item 3, consent agenda.
We have 6 items on the consent agenda today. If there's not objection, I would move for approval.
Second.
Motion's been made by Commissioner Mays, seconded by Commissioner Cook. Those in favor say aye. Opposed? Motion passes 2-0. Next item, please.
Item 4, new business, A, County Clerk, number 1, consider all voucher payments.
Mr. Chairman, there are vouchers that total $1,178,939.26. Some of the highlights from that voucher report are payments to KBS Construction for $24,196 for renovations to 2 courtrooms. Under the Sheriff and Equipment Fund, there's Multiplicity LLC for $19,543.18 for rapid deployment vehicle warning kits. And under the general expense for Samco is $18,366.78, get it right on the third try, for the repair of a water main break at the Juvenile Detention Center. Outside of that, there was just the regular vouchers and nothing really of note. I would move for approval.
I'll second that. So motion's been made by Commissioner Cook, seconded by Commissioner Mays. Those in favor say aye. Opposed? Motion passes 2-0. Next item, please.
Item A2, consider correction orders.
I'll move approval of the correction orders. Second by, motion's been made by Commissioner Mays, second by Cook. Those in favor say aye. Opposed? Motion passes 2-0. Next item, please.
Item A3, consider approval of resolution number 2022-62, authorizing a 2022 Syrah and Beverage license for John's Food Center located at 5812 South Topeka Boulevard, Topeka, Kansas. And this is just a CMB for the rest of this year. It has been reviewed by the Counselor's Office, and the township was notified, and they had a KBI investigation, and everything passed, and so we're just asking that you approve it.
Okay. I'll make a motion to approve that.
Second.
Motion's been made by Commissioner Mays, seconded by Commissioner Cook. Those in favor say aye. Opposed? Motion passes 2-0. Next item, please.
Item B, Health Department, number 1, consider the authorization and execution of contract C229-2022, a clinical affiliation agreement to provide facilities for on-site training of students at Western Governors University with no cost to Shawnee County.
Good morning, Commissioners. Teresa Fisher, Director with the Health Department. As the clerk read, this is yet another opportunity for us to welcome nursing students to introduce them to public health. So this is a student who reached out to us who is specifically looking for public health hours, and so we would love to be able to host them. Again, anytime we get an opportunity to introduce nursing students, as we all know, there's a nationwide shortage, and especially in public health, we like to take this opportunity to welcome them into the Shawnee County Health Department. Be happy to answer any questions.
Questions for Teresa?
I have none, but I move for approval.
I'll second. Motion's been made by Commissioner Cook, seconded by Commissioner Mays. Those in favor say aye. Opposed? Motion passes 2-0.
Thank you.
Thank you. Next item, please.
Item C, Department of Corrections, number 1, consider the request to accept a bid and negotiate an agreement for the domestic boiler project. The Department of Corrections is requesting to accept the lowest and most reasonable, responsible bid of $440,142 with McElroy's Inc. and formalize an agreement. The project has been approved for ARPA SLFRF funds as a project number 2021-44.
Good morning, Commissioners. Eve Kendall, Department of Corrections. Back in May, we were approved to go out to solicit bids for our boiler project. We had 4 contractors bid, and McElroy's was the lowest responsible bidder. We are requesting to formalize that agreement and to hopefully move forward with those boilers with your approval.
Questions?
No.
All right, I'll move for approval.
I'll second.
Motion. Oh.
Mr. Chairman, before we move on to the next item, though, I do want to take a moment and recognize Ms. Kendall was present as a poll worker on Tuesday. She's always the poll worker at my polling location, and just want to thank her and all the other county workers that were out voting and working the polls, and just take a moment. I know it's out of order to usually end, but I don't want her slipping out the door and being gone without recognizing that professionalism they do as county workers working the polls.
Thank you, sir. It's my honor.
And let's also, while we're just giving you praise, let's also mention how hard you've been working on this flood in the basement of the juvenile center. I mean,
Yes, sir.
I know you put a lot of time and effort into that, so thanks for that. I made a motion.
I
Did you
second.
second already?
I did.
Okay. So we have a motion and a second by Mays and Cook. Those in favor say aye. Opposed, motion passes 2-0.
Thank you, sir.
All right, next item, please.
Item D, Facilities Management. Number 1, consider authorization and execution of contract C-228-2022 with Cine Company to remove, repair, and replace the drive to the northeast parking lot at the courthouse due to erosion under the existing slab at a cost not to exceed $67,275, utilizing 2022 contingency funds as part of an approved emergency purchase.
Good morning, Commissioners. Nelda Henning, Director of Facilities Management. I'm coming to you with the contract approval for the work that you had approved earlier through Cine, and I'm here to answer any questions you might have.
Questions for Nelda?
No, I'll move for approval.
I'll second. We've got a motion by Commissioner Cook, seconded by Commissioner Mays. Those in favor say aye. Opposed, motion passes 2-0.
Thank you.
Thank you. Next item, please.
Item E, Sheriff's Office. Number 1, acknowledge receipt of correspondence from Sheriff Hill regarding the request to go out for RFP on Project 2021-14, the courthouse entrance security upgrades project to be paid utilizing ARPA SLFRF funds.
Good morning, Commissioners. Danny Lottridge, Sheriff's Office. We are requesting approval to go out for bids to solicit for 2 new x-ray machines, 2 new magnetometers for both security entrances here at the courthouse. So I'd be happy to answer any questions you guys have.
Questions?
Are we looking to replace the ones we have, update? Are we going to buy additional? What's the plan?
We are looking to replace both the x-ray machines, the magnetometers that are currently in use. Both were purchased in 2007. Technology has advanced, gotten better, and then the machines that we currently have, some of the parts are starting to become obsolete, so when they break down for repairs, we've been lucky so far. We were warned that those parts may not be available in the future. As things stand right now, we don't have any backups for x-ray machines. The old one that we had finally died. They couldn't do anything with it, and it was hauled out of here. We have 1 backup magnetometer. It is so old that they can't get parts for it anymore. The company that we purchased that from actually asked us if they could get that back in the future. They would like to add that to their museum.
So the ones that we have, are they going to have a trade-in value at all? Do they have a scrap value? Are we responsible for disposal? What happens?
So the ones that we currently have, we would like to keep and leave as backups in the future in case any go down, or if another county building requires some, maybe we could use those instead of having to purchase new ones.
Okay. I mean, they don't seem like they're very easy to transport from spot A to spot B and pretty precise equipment, so that probably wouldn't happen very often.
I wouldn't do it any more than I had to.
Okay. I don't have any other questions.
Nor do I, so I'll move for approval.
Second.
Thank you.
Motion's been made by Commissioner Mays, seconded by Commissioner Cook. Those in favor say aye. Opposed, motion passes 2-0. Next item, please.
Item 5, public comment.
I don't have anybody signed up. Are there any members of the public wishing to speak today? Seeing none. Next item.
Item 6, administrative communications.
All right.
Good morning, Commissioners. Bill Sutton, Shawnee County Solid Waste. We'd like to remind everybody that this Saturday, August 6th, will be our first Saturday of the month collection event out there at the Household Hazardous Waste. So feel free to bring out your any stuff that you have to dispose of in an economically friendly way, which is free. They are open from 9 until noon. Address is 131 Northeast 46th Street. And for more information, please call 286-4381. All right, thanks.
Thank you.
Good morning, Commissioners. Larry Moss, Shawnee County Treasurer. An update on the annex. I had planned on opening the annex today, but this week we've had 4 more cases of positive COVID, so we're extending that closure through Friday, tomorrow, and plan to open on Monday. Any questions?
Hope everybody gets better soon.
Yeah.
All right, thank you.
Exactly.
Good morning, Commissioners. Teresa Fisher, Director with the Health Department. I just want to remind the public that with school starting, our immunizations clinic is up and running. We've had lots of families in to get their children's back-to-school immunizations. Our immunizations department is located at 2115 Southwest 10th Avenue. We are doing walk-in clinics, or if parents prefer, we're also scheduling appointments. And that number to call is 251-5700. We hope to see lots of parents and their kids there.
Great. Thank you.
Good morning, Commissioners. Cindy Beck, Shawnee County Clerk. I have just a short presentation of some notifications that are going to be going out to we're sending out 63,950 notices, and of course, if there's multiple property owners, they will receive, we'll bundle 5 to an envelope. But this notice, this is exactly what it looks like, except it's going to be long. It's going to be a legal-sized document. I just randomly chose one out of there and happened to grab my own. So the information on here, the little history behind what this form is. The 2021 legislature passed the law originally, initiating this, and we did have to have the revenue neutral rate last year, but all the entities were required to do was just, if they wanted to have the additional, the ability to go past the revenue neutral rate, they just had to have an additional hearing before they had their public hearing for their budget. This is the first year we're actually having to mail this information out to every taxpayer in the county. So the 2022 legislature, of course, that the statute that we're looking at here is 79-2988. And it requires my office and every other office or every other clerk across the state to send taxpayers these notifications to compare the proposed mill levy rate that is revenue neutral. And revenue neutral means that the county, if the same amount of tax dollars that any entity needs this year, they need that same amount next year. The mill levy would be a certain amount. So because you're taking the same amount of tax dollars that you need, but the value, we all know that the values went up this year. So that's what they're saying about the revenue neutral rate. And it's, the budgets, the example I hear, they said if an entity needs $1 million of property tax revenue for their 2022 budget, being revenue neutral means they plan to use the same $1 million for their 2023 budget. Well, we all know that that's not going to work out because of inflation and because of the cost of everything. I think I could add just two of our departments, our large departments, that we have 3 of them, are using just the fuel alone that they're using so their budgets are past what they would normally use just this year. But that's not taken into consideration in this law. It just says that you have to do this. Now, if you want to have more tax dollar revenue for the 2023 year, you have to have this special hearing, and it is the hearing is simple. We will have our budget hearing on the 22nd of August at 5:30 in the evening, and the first item on the agenda will be opening the revenue neutral rate hearing, because Shawnee County is one of those that has selected to do this. And it will be open to anyone to come and ask questions, why you're doing what you're doing, which is, in my humble opinion, what our budget hearings have always been. They've always been open to the public to come and question why you're doing what you're doing. We don't always get a lot of people there, but anybody's welcome to come. This holds true on all taxing entities across the county, all taxing entities across the state. They all either have to have their regular budget hearing, or they have to have an R&R, revenue neutral rate hearing, and a budget hearing. Now, some of the reasons that you might raise your mill levy this year, or not raise it, but why you might not use the revenue neutral rate mill levy is because such things as our police protection, our parks, our the street and bridge. I mean, we have so many things just for Shawnee County that we need to have the extra revenue for. This notice does not take that into, again, they don't take that into consideration. Now, the question we know we're going to get next week is, what is this and why are you sending it to us? Well, the first is, it's just required by law. I don't have a choice. We don't have a choice. We have to send them out. But it requires us to notify you of every taxpayer that the information showing, and we've got various, there's locations on this thing, and they're alphabetical. The notice will list all this information. I don't know if you can see it very well, but like item A up there, and this comes straight out of the statute. Item A would be what the revenue neutral rate would be for the list of all of those entities on there, specific to my property. This is my actual individual property. B, which is over here, that is the proposed tax revenue that each taxing subdivision needs to fund their 2023 budget, if they plan to exceed the revenue neutral rate. C is actually in two places, and that is the proposed tax levy for the 2023 budget and the total assessed value for the 2022. And D is the percentage of the proposed tax levy that will exceed, and that's percentage right there, that will exceed the revenue neutral rate levy. And E is the tax levy amount and the taxes, and that's down here on the bottom, of what our current taxes are. So what my taxes we paid this year. F, and that is right there, that is the appraised and assessed value of the taxpayers for 22, but it actually has 21 and 22 on there. And G, which there's also two places for that, the estimated taxes for the current year and the proposed tax levy that would exceed the revenue neutral rate. H is the difference between the taxes between the revenue neutral rate and if you didn't have the revenue neutral rate. And I is the list of all the date, times, and locations of all of the budget hearings for everyone that is going to have a revenue neutral rate hearing. Now, that's confusing. I'm sorry, but this is what we're required to do. And I don't anticipate any good calls coming back from this, because it is very confusing. It's been confusing for all of us, at the clerks across the state, the various state entities. We've worked with municipal accounting. We've worked with PVD. We have worked with the Kansas Department of the schools, the Department of Education, trying to make this as understandable as it can be. But there's just so many numbers, there's so much information, and it's just difficult to say, what the revenue neutral rate is. If you don't work with levies, even if you don't work with values, it could be confusing. People know, people understand, my value of my house is, estimated to, I think it's the 248,180 is the new value. And I did want to talk to Steve Bauman, but he didn't show up today, about that amount. But the whole thing is, that's just for my house. But these are numbers for the whole county, and it can be confusing. We're anticipating, some of the clerks across the state have notified us that most of their calls that they've gotten so far are, what is this and why am I getting it? Because most people receive their valuation notices from the appraiser's office in early part of the year, and they'll receive the tax statement and towards the end of the year. The county clerk doesn't send out notices. But again, a law changed and we had to. Now, these notices are only going to the taxpayer on record. They're not going to go to any mortgage companies, and they're not going to go if you have if there's more than one person on the property, it's only going to go to the first person that's listed on the property. So there's a whole bunch of variables in here. We don't know yet, because ours won't go out till next week. Not really sure what the cost is, but it's going to cost a lot of money to mail all this stuff. We're having mail services do this, and it's going to be easily $40,000 or $50,000 to get this, do all this work. And my staff and I have been working on this for, well, months really, and we hope to get, we hope a little bit of information will let the public know that it's not a big deal. It's more just information. If they want to know something as to what a particular item on here is, or, with a library or whatever, they can call us. We'll do what we can, but, this is our baptism by fire, so to speak. We really don't have a lot of information other than this document is a little bit, no, it's a whole bunch overwhelming, and it's going to be that way when people get it, but that's all we can do.
Mr. Chairman.
Yep.
Ms. Beck, twice you've said they can contact your office. I don't see your number
No,
on this notice.
that
So-
wasn't anything that, and these are, of course, these are,
So if a person wants to contact your office, what number should they call?
251-4155.
Okay, so we got that for the camera, so that they can broadcast and what number they need to call at this county clerk's office.
Yes.
The other thing is, you have listed all the taxing entities, and every taxpayer's notice will probably be a little bit different.
Yes.
If they're in different areas of the county, because there's different taxing entities. The notice does not have when the revenue neutral hearing will be.
It does,
Yeah, it does.
down here at the bottom.
Okay, there they are.
Yeah,
Okay, good.
they're all, it's a little bit more difficult, but they are there.
Okay.
And when it says no hearing, like we have Metro Airports that had no hearings, that means have chosen to go not either take the revenue neutral rate or go below that. But they still will have to have a budget hearing. Everybody still, all the entities will have budget hearings.
So for an entity like Washburn University, which would cover the entire county, are you directing people to Washburn University, to their department, to be able to speak with them regarding their budget?
Well, they can, but they're not the ones who sent this. I mean, we have the information, and Washburn University is only the city of Topeka. It's not the whole county.
All right, well, all right, then the library.
Yeah, library.
Okay,
The library.
I'll thank you. I'll use one that does cover the entire
Yeah,
county.
say
The
library,
All right.
and the library does, there's a little bit difference in there, but they cover most of the county. We can send it to them. They won't have, we're still working at this point in time, trying to get, so if you call and have a question, my staff would be able to pull up your document to
But
look at it.
If
But
I call you about the library, you're probably not going to know what all things are in the library budget. Wouldn't it be best to transfer them or forward them on to the library to be able to speak to them about their budget?
That will probably be something if they start getting specific, having specific questions about that. I don't think that was thought through when this bill was passed. I
Okay.
don't think they all took all that into consideration because it's not, if it were to have, each entity were to send out just the information for to everybody, just for their stuff, that's essentially what they wanted them to do. But they allowed us to lump them together to make it less expensive to do it this way. We can refer them over there, and it's just going to add to they would still have the same opportunity when Washburn publishes their notice in the paper that they're going to have their budget. And at that point in time, when people see that, they can also call. So we could refer them, yes, we will have their numbers.
Are we putting the revenue neutral rate statements on the county website?
No.
Because right now, I can go to the county website and get my appraisal notice. I can get my tax statement. I can access all different kinds of information about my property. Is there a way that we can put this on the county website working with Lee Allen, where I could type in my address or your address and look up the revenue neutral rate?
The question has been posed to IT, and we were told that they didn't have the staff to do it. So
Okay.
we did not try, because that would have been great, but this information it's like I said, it's pretty daunting for, just in general, what we're putting before them, but it essentially has all that list of all this little things I read off, that's right out of the statute, those A through I, all those items had to be on this document. And then they gave us the opportunity to group them in for every individual, to group these together, because at one point in time they were going to require that I would send out, my office would send out for every one of those taxing entities on my property tax statement, I would send a separate one out for every one of those.
I'm surprised that we can't put that on the county website, since you have a data file with everybody's information that you're compiling to print these. But I'm not running IT, so.
And that's the same thing. We talked to them, and it's just, some of this stuff is just, I'm not an IT person, I don't know, but I just thought this to be it would be a start for people to know, because we did talk about that in my budget.
Because if we had it on the internet, that would alleviate one of the issues of notice. So that if a person came back at a later time, we would say, not only did we mail it to you, we made it available on the county website for you to be able to access, which is one of the concerns, is a person comes back later and says,
I didn't get one.
I didn't get one. We could say, well, we tried two ways. We did a publication notifying you that there was going to be a change. We mailed you a notice, and we made it accessible on the county website. And not only were you able to access yours, you were able to access any's. In the same way, I can look up your tax statement that Larry Ma's office puts out. I can access your appraisal statement that Steve Bauman's office puts out. And so I'm just a little bit surprised that we couldn't access that through IT, but.
It would have been, they're working, we're just, right now, what I'm working on right now is trying to get these 63,000 notices for my staff to be able to
Yes.
pull them up too.
I understand, you want to be able to get it out.
Yeah,
So-
they're going to go out, but right at this moment, like for, say, Tricia from my office, if she gets a call, we don't have the capabilities without pulling up the system and just cranking down the long list of those, because this is the way our software company does this.
So we are 3 weeks from our revenue neutral rate, 3 weeks and a couple of days.
From our hearing, right.
From our revenue neutral rate hearing. Are the public going to be able to get these notices in time?
They will be out, no later than the 12th, but I'm anticipating that they'll go out the 9th or the 10th,
Okay.
because the 12th is still 10 days prior to the earliest allowable, because they have to have their budget hearings between August 20th and September 20th, so, and the 22nd would be the first allowable workday for them to have anybody to have a hearing.
Well, on the draft that you have, it looks like we're one of the first.
Yes, well, we are the first, but this is just for there's several others that have theirs on the 22nd as well, but it's very, like, so we'll get a lot of calls. People will want to know what's going on, and we will do our best. And unfortunately, Larry's office, they're going to get the calls. Steve's office, they're going to get calls. Your office is going to get calls.
Well, I'm sure that Larry, Steve, and our office will be more than happy to forward them to you.
Yes, you will. But we, of course, because when tax statements go out and when value notices changes go out, they all get, we all get the same information and same calls and stuff. So, but I just wanted to just do a little presentation, like you kind of let people know in general that these notices are just strictly that, has nothing to do with taxes. This is just a notification of what would happen if you stayed revenue neutral, what their levy would be, what their tax would be, and then essentially if they had the same levy that you're had this year, and that would be, so lots of information for the public, and we're there. 785-251-4155.
Okay, thank you.
Where's Stephanie go?
I just leave it up there. Fine.
Yeah, it's pretty.
Any other administrative communications? Commissioner Cook?
I don't have anything this week.
I'll just remind everybody, Saturday is National Night Out, so there are block parties all over Shawnee County. Friday, I believe, is a kickoff party, which will be in the Hy-Vee parking lot that evening. That's always fun. If you can't find it, if your neighborhood's not doing a party on Saturday, come by the kickoff. I know the sheriff's office is always there. I'm sure lots of other folks will be there as well, radio stations, TPD, fire department, all kinds of fun stuff. Those are always a lot of fun. If you can get a neighborhood that has an ice cream social, those are my favorite. But try and make an effort to stop by. It's always good to meet your neighbors. I don't have anything other than that, though. So next item, please.
Item 7, executive session.
We do not have a need for executive session today, so we are adjourned.